Gotta go fast. Gotta have speed. But most importantly, I need those unlimited soup salad and breadsticks from Olive Garden, along with their never-ending pasta bowl. Sounds delicious. So, Sonic the Hedgehog is directed by Jeff Fowler, and it stars Ben Schwartz, Jim Carrey, James Marsden, and Sonic the Hedgehog is hiding out on Earth, and one day he winds up triggering a power outage that winds up getting Dr. Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey, to the site of the incident, and he teams up with James Marsden, who plays a police officer, and Sonic and James Marsden, they team up to basically stop Dr. Robotnik to make sure Sonic gets to a new home, and fun ensues along the way. Now, I've never been a big fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. Not to say, like, you know, I hated the character. I just never really played him too much. Then again, I'm not a big video game person. So, when I heard they were making a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, I'm like, oh god, another video game movie. Because anytime I'm exposed to video games, it's usually through a movie. And, video game movies do not have the best track record, to say the least. And, so, since I was not a big fan, my first real exposure to Sonic was probably the very first teaser trailer. Yeah. And the fact that Gangsta's Paradise playing over the trailer was the second most embarrassing thing about it. And the most embarrassing thing was obviously Sonic's design. It looked just wrong. Just ew. So anyway, I'm kind of glad that they pushed it back to essentially fix Sonic. And the thing with this movie is that it's definitely not a bad movie by any means. I'll say it. This Sonic the Hedgehog is not a bad movie. This is one of the better video game movies in recent years. It's just not a great movie either. It's alright. It can be fun at times. But if you're looking for something deeper in Sonic the Hedgehog, it's not really here. Why would you? Like, okay, so what's good about this movie? Well, Sonic the Hedgehog. He's actually really good. His design is really good in this movie. I'm surprised by how good it ended up being. Again, especially considering that first trailer, which was just... ugh. Also, Ben Schwartz, who voices Sonic the Hedgehog, he's really funny in the role, and he's very sympathetic as the character. His relationship with James Marsden is also really good. I thought James Marsden was actually pretty good in this movie. It's weird, he does this movie several years after doing Hop, and essentially it's kind of like the same thing. This is better, though. Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, he's actually pretty good here. Like, this is like classic Jim Carrey from, you know, movies like Ace Ventura. It's more Ace Ventura and not so much Riddler, which is good. There's some scenes where it feels like, okay, you're clearly hamming it up, but you're looking at Jim Carrey, like... He's really fun as the villain, even though, like, again, you would think he would be grating at some point. He's never really that grating. So, you know, props to Jim Carrey on that one. Also, there's some very funny moments in here, like, mostly from Sonic and James Marsden. Again, Jim Carrey's also really funny. Everyone's kind of funny in this movie. Everyone has, like, various funny moments scattered throughout. Like, especially this one exchange between James Marsden and Jim Carrey, that's actually pretty funny, and I was laughing in my seat about how, essentially how James Marsden had loving parents and Jim Carrey did not. I thought that was pretty funny. Also, there's some pretty fun sequences, throughout. The big final battle between Robotnik and Sonic, that's kind of fun. There's a couple scenes where you can see Sonic running in slow motion, that's, like he's reorganizing things really fast, but it's all done in slow motion. I thought that was kind of fun, even though obviously they're making fun of the Quicksilver scenes in X-Men. Like, he's starting to pull pranks in slow motion. So at first it was like, oh, that's kind of fun every once in a while. It's fun to see him do that. But that kind of leads into my cons, because, like, you know, one time is fine. You know, making fun of Quicksilver and all that. That's fine. That's fine every once in a while. But this movie does it like 2 or 3 more times after that. I want to say 2 more times after that. And it's not nearly as fun the other 2 times, because, like, the first time is actually pretty creative. Like, this guy, Sonic gives this guy a wedgie and lifts it up to the antlers of a moose head. He also places a deer's head on some guy who's gonna beat him up. That was fun. But, like, he does it again at some point when he faces Dr. Robotnik, and Robotnik launches rockets at him, and he's dodging them. And it's like, this would be much more fun if this was the only time he used that, but it's kind of slow at this point. Also, like, not every joke in this movie is funny. Like, and that's kind of my big complaint with movies these days. It's not really all that funny. Like, you know, for a joke that works, a joke doesn't work. Of course, since it's a kid's movie, there's got to be a fart joke in there, and I just groaned in my seat hearing a fart joke, and I'm like, God. Can we get through one kid's movie without a single fart joke? Like, first Doolittle, and now Sonic the Hedgehog this year. Also, like, the framing of this movie is really off. Because, like, the beginning, you see Sonic running away from Robotnik, and, of course, he freezes it. And it's like, yeah, you're probably wondering why this is happening, so let's go back to the very beginning. And so it rewinds quickly back to the beginning of the movie. And he narrates for a brief moment where, you know, what his life is like at that moment, how he's on Earth and what he does on Earth during his spare time. And then he doesn't narrate again until the moment in the movie where we see the beginning again, just towards the end. And it's like, oh, right, you narrated the beginning. So, I'm narrating now. We just remembered that. Oh, well. Also, there's not really an insane amount of product placement in this movie, but it's noticeable. Like, at one point, James Marsden's wife, played by Tika Sumpter, she mentions, well, I looked up this apartment on Zillow. But, like, that's not the most embarrassing product placement. The most embarrassing product placement is Olive Garden. Because they literally say the slogan, when you're here, your family. And there's a moment about Olive Garden in the movie as well. I won't give it away. But that's kind of why I did that at the beginning of this video. Well, it's not like Transformers level bad in terms of product placements. It's more Power Rangers 2017 bad. Like, remember how in that movie they hide a gem that Elizabeth Banks was looking for at a Krispy Kreme? It's almost as bad as that, but it's like I kind of was laughing not because it was funny, but because that is so ridiculous and so pandering, and I just question why it was even in the movie, other than, you know, the obvious product placement. Overall, Sonic the Hedgehog is a movie that, you know, I heard people say it's a lot of fun and you could pick this movie apart, but, you know, you could still have fun with it. And admittedly, in the movie, I was picking it apart. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. There was a plot hole in the movie that kind of annoyed me after thinking about it. Whereas, like, Sonic can run pretty much everywhere, and he can't get to the location where he's supposed to go. And I'm like, you can run, like, 300 miles an hour. You can make it there in, like, you know, I don't know, 5 hours maybe, or something, if you're lucky. Or use the ring. Oh, no. Spoiler. So yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog is a movie you can rip apart very easily, and there's a part of me that kind of did want to rip it apart, but, you know, I really just couldn't, because this movie's definitely not bad by any means. This is, it's fun, it's enjoyable while you're watching it, but I would definitely compare this to Detective Pikachu from last year, a movie I did not really care for. I think this is slightly better, but that's not really saying much, unfortunately. I'll give Sonic the Hedgehog 2.5 out of 4 stars. Stream it. So, what is your favorite who's your favorite video game character? Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and take care.